Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into the 10-star event against KIZUNA Superboss Luffy. Now, we're only doing the 10-star event, and we're showcasing my one team beats all. Now, we are using my Marco team that is going to be really, really good for assists if you guys are looking to farm XP. And then I have 3 other teams, including my team, that I am using to take down this particular 10-star event. So, 4 one-team versus alls for you guys to hopefully get you guys not only some high tickets, and some big XP for your assists utilizing double Marco. Now, I do recommend still everyone try and use the suicide strat, unless you're going incredibly hard and you're getting those really high nabs, well, sorry, not nabs, those really high KIZUNA levels, and you're going to need to sort of like have people save you later down the line. I would use the suicide strat if you're probably getting to around sort of 50 to like 70 sort of clears. Make sure your alliance members are on board before you do it, obviously, because you do want people to save you. But if you're enjoying the video, if these teams help you out, make sure to belt the like button. We were on stream, so huge shout out to stream. If you want to come over to the streams, link in the description for my twitch.tv/StumpD Gacha. Make sure to come over and hit me with a follow. If you are over here on YouTube, make sure to belt me with a sub. If you haven't done so already, I appreciate it a lot. But with that said, let's take a look at the runs. Alright, so quick. We are utilizing Marco for our assists, as you guys heard in the intro. And unfortunately, I can't really do this unless I get assists. So I do thank you for the patience. Yes, Ozzy, that is the one. So we are over on stream. Big shout out to chat. So thank you so much for being here, chat. I did make some changes to this particular team. I did have Frankie on it initially for barrier pen, but I did run into a little bit of a hiccup because Sanji, you need to use his special on stage 3 to set defense to 0 for the Dex variation. I actually changed it to Brook. The reason that is because I have Luffy, and this way, with the ace support on Marco, I can actually get the orbs to trigger, or actually get enough orbs to... You guys will see once I get there. But on this particular variation, we do need Sanji here to actually reduce the paralysis. That Nami support is not used for this one, but it is nice to have for later. We can use one of the Marco specials here. We don't need both our Marco specials. So that is going to be very, very nice. And then we can actually utilize... Oh, so he only has the bottom row. Yeah, sweet. And then we can actually use our Brook special. The Brook special is one of the specials we're always going to use. Always on stage 2. Like, that is just going to be like a must. However, Brook is not actually getting a buff now that I'm really thinking about it. So that is a bit of a bummer. That is a little bit of a bummer. However, it's not a big issue. He's basically just here for the super tandem of Luffy, as well as being a quick unit, a free spirit unit, and that way you can actually get a very, very nice buff with him, because his whole team actually is free spirit besides Marco, which is actually pretty interesting. On the final stage against the quick Luffy, he has 2 penguins, and he gives us chain coefficient reduction below a certain multiplier. So with this team, we have a orb boost with Luffy. We get a full border orbs as well. We also get a full border recovery orbs, which Luffy can get around, which is very, very nice. You actually can't use a chain buff for this particular variation, so that's why having Marco's carryover effect is very, very nice. Be mindful, though, you can't use that on the, what's it called one? The Dex one. Yeah, the Dex one. But like I said, we'll talk about that once we get there. Now we're basically just going to kill those penguins in the back. They don't have a lot of HP, if, like, any HP at all. And as you guys will see here, like, Luffy hits ridiculously hard. Like, ridiculously hard. So that is the quick variation. We're going to move on to the next variation now. Works very, very well. Very, very well. Alright, so big test now. We're going to be taking on a level 56 against the Dex. Now, this is the one that I was talking about in the previous run, as there is a barrier. So I did tweak this particular team to make sure that we actually have all the strength, Dex, and quick orb on the final stage. Now, remember, Brook isn't getting boosted on this team, but he is a Straw Hat, which means that he is giving the Super Tandem buff, which works out very, very nicely. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, I did run into the hiccup, is if you use the Marco Super type on turn 1, you won't actually, won't actually be able to use the Sanji special on the final stage, which is very important because you need Nami to set the defense to 0. So if you don't have a chain, if you have a chain boost, you can't do it. But we can actually use it on this particular stage here, and that way we can actually get our cooldowns. Brook's going to give us some cooldowns as well. Oh, Brook doesn't get cooldowns there. That's a huge L. Brook doesn't have the ability to reverse cooldowns. That's super interesting. We might have to look at something to put on Brook that actually gives us 2 turns of cooldowns if we get reversed. However, I still think we'll have the damage here just because Marco is an absolute Chad. So we don't actually need the Brook special ready to go anyway. So yeah, it's fine. However, we will get a Brook special back on the final stage regardless. So that is actually quite nice. We could have actually used the Marco special there as well. Don't know why I didn't do that. That actually is another option because you actually get the chain boost there. But like I said, you need to use what's his name? I keep forgetting. Sanji. You need to use Sanji special on this stage. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the defense down. So we're going to start off with Sanji. Sanji gives us his chain buff. And then we set the defense to 0. That is very, very important. Then with our captain, Marco, we can actually use the ace support. Oh, I stuffed up. I was actually meant to use Luffy first. Alright, we're back. Let's try this again. So, auto-triggering of Marco is actually going to give Brook his cooldowns. So that way we have a base stat booster on the final stage. But remember, you need to use Sanji first before you actually use anything else. So we're going to use that, which is awesome. Nami's going to set the defense to 0. We get a chain buff there. And then Luffy's going to give us an orb buff. He's going to give us a full board of... I actually realized that this is actually not going to work because I need a support on Bon Clay that's going to rotate the orb once Bon Clay. Because if it's a strength orb barrier, I'm actually sort of cucked. So we might have to sort of tweak this so we put a support on Bon Clay that gives us a matching orb like when we do that. So otherwise we could put Bon Clay in the bottom right and then put Brook in the middle left. That could work, and then put a support on Brook to do that. But finally, we can wrap it up with Brook. Brook can actually give us some base stats, which is actually pretty nice. We have that Hakuba support. I mean, we could use Hakuba support, right? And then that way, if we swap Bon Clay and that, we have all the orbs there anyway. So that's actually going to work very, very nicely. So we're going to quickly take out the units in the back there. We're then going to break the barrier, and we are going to finish it off with the Bon Clay, because Bon Clay has color affinity. He also has the super tandem thanks to Luffy, and with that, we have enough damage to actually clear level 56 with a double Marco team. So that was actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Love to see it. Thank you, Rizzy. Alright, so moving on to strength now. And it's funny because like I just keep changing this team like as as the video and the stream has actually gone on. I've just sort of been tweaking it to just make it a little bit better every single time. But that's the fun about being on stream. That's the fun about actually playing the actual content when it actually comes out. So we did move Brook into the middle left-hand spot. That way we can just sort of give ourselves 3 matching orbs, no matter what. But with this particular variation, ideally we actually want to use Brook on the final stage. Sorry, on stage 2, because our Marco doesn't actually get his cooldowns. We have to use his super typing on stage 2, which means we can actually get his attack boost on the final stage. So we are going to use Sanji here. Sanji's actually going to give us a chain buff. Actually, no, Brook can be used on the final stage here, which is actually pretty nice. And then we're actually going to use the super classes of our Marco units. Now, Marco's an absolute Chad, so we should have no issues to actually kill here, because Usopp really doesn't do anything besides that paralysis. And as you can see, with ease, we actually managed to take him out. We do have that chain buff thanks to Sanji as well, which is very, very nice to have. On the final stage against Luffy, he has 2 of his penguins. And he actually turns into either a Dex unit, a Quick unit, or he stays Strength. So one of the primary colors. He gives you Special Bind for 5 turns, which actually becomes 6 after level 30. So that's why we actually have the support of Sabo on our Luffy. At least oh no, we don't actually, not for this team. We're actually using Bon Clay. I totally forgot. Bon Clay, again, the GOAT for this actual Kizuna. Very, very good. We're then going to use our Luffy special to give us... We can actually get the Marco special back on the final stage. That is nuts. It's actually wild. This team has so many cooldowns. Just absolutely insane. But then we can actually use Brook. Now, Brook's going to give us a chain buff. He gives us base stats as well, which is actually really, really nice. We're actually going to start it off with our boy Brook. Because those penguins in the back, they don't have much HP at all. So once we've done that, we can actually get the Super Tandem with Luffy. And as you can see, we can do a lot of damage. You can still actually tap with, like, Marco as well. Marco's not going to get the super tandem of Luffy because he's not free spirit. But it sort of just depends on what color that main Luffy becomes. So, there you go. That was the Marco team. It actually works out very, very nicely. Very, very well. Let's take a look at the other 3 one team versus alls. One against each variation. Alright, so onto the one team versus alls. I am up against Dex. Dex is the one that actually has a barrier, so this is actually going to be very interesting. Now, this team that you see on screen, it actually needs Usopp as a friend captain, and that's basically how it operates. Now, you do need the waifus and max barrier pen, and this is why I thought I would choose. Well, I didn't really need to choose it. I'm not going to lie. I actually just saw one of my homies, and I was like, I'm going to save them. And they were on Dex, so let's dive in. So we do have Kinemon Dendro here. Kinemon Dendro are very good because they can give resistance, which I've recently found out stacks, which is very, very nice. I actually need to try and remember how this team operate, because yeah, that could be a little bit interesting. So we are going to use you. I'm going to switch with you. I don't get the super switch. Maybe the super switch is only for strength characters, or for the striker characters, maybe. Maybe I was meant to start as Yamato for that particular variation, so I get the super swap. Honestly, I can't really remember how this particular team fully operates. Nevertheless, though, we should be fine. We are going to switch with Kinemon and Dendro there. So that way, we can get the resistance buff, and then we can actually just move on. On to the finals fight. We are going to versus Luffy, who has his penguin friends. Now, this is the one where he has a barrier. He puts up a random color orb barrier. And he also gives us full unfavorable slots. This is why we have the Germa support. So Germa's actually going to rotate those. We can, ideally, we'd actually want to stay as Yamato for this particular fight. But, screw it. We're going to swap, because then we can use the Ace Yamato special to give us an attack boost, as well as give us a, a chain boundary. Usopp's going to give us a delay conditional, because there's 3 enemies, we can guarantee the delay. To get around the resilience, Usopp's very, very good here, and that's pretty much why you need Usopp. We have the color affinity thanks to the waifu unit. That's going to give us a 2.75 times color affinity. Then we actually have a crazy orb buff with our Kinemon and Dendro, as this whole team is actually free spirit, which is very, very nice. And then we actually have Sanji here, and Sanji can give us a chain boost. Now, with this particular team, you don't have anyone else that can break the barrier besides getting through it with either Usopp and your waifu unit. So, starting with Sanji and Zoro, they are actually going to give them our crewmates, and that's actually going to give us some pretty good buffs there. Now, as you can see, Usopp hits pretty hard, and then we actually have the final tap of the, So, shout out to my chat. They just said that you need to use Usopp before you use Yamato and Ace. So, I actually didn't have the conditional boost live there. So, shout out to chat. Thank you so much for that, Labao. So, that was the Yamato Ace with Usopp friend. That team should work very well for a very long time from what I can see. But let's move on to another one team versus all now. Alright, so for you crazy cats that summoned for the Tobi Roppo, and you feel like using the Tobi Roppo, this is a one team versus all, and hopefully it works. I'm not 100% certain how it's actually going to work in terms of the cooldowns for a Shuridoji. Now, Shuridoji does get cooldowns on every variation, and Who's Who is giving 2 turns of cooldown. But as you can see, he still needs 20 turns before we get to the final stage. So, let's see how we go here. Are we going to get the cooldowns? Okay, he's 5 turns off, which will go down to 4. With the 2 turns from Who's Who, we actually should just get the cooldowns. However, on one of the variations, we might struggle a little bit, because you do get your special rewinded. So, that is a little bit of an issue. But for now, we are just going to move. So, let's just go like this. We are using the Zunesha as well. Something that I didn't add on to my other videos. Well, at least I don't think I did. The Zunesha gives us a full board of matching orbs when we do get the recovery orb slots. And as you guys can see here, we are using an Usopp friend captain. On stage 2, we do get paralyzed by Usopp, which is a little bit annoying. It's nothing too crazy, because we have Law. Law can actually remove that pretty hunky-dory there. And from there, we should be pretty good to go. We do have the Odin support actually on... everything's sort of just flowing back to me now. We do have the Odin support on Ashura Doji as well. So that is going to give us 1 turn of cooldown, but I think we might just be 1 turn off when it comes to the stage that rolls our specials back. But lucky for us, we actually can get it for where we're at. Just hopefully we don't need the defense down for that particular stage. On the final stage against Luffy, we're going to get special blinded for 5 turns, which will be 6. And he has 5 turns of threshold. So removing the special blind is great, and it's another reason why we have Ashura Doji here. He also gives us base stats as well. However, ideally we would want Sasuke's base stats, but nevertheless, it's not too big of a deal. We then can't get the conditional of Usopp, so that's a little bit annoying. However, Usopp can give us some matching orbs. We can get an orb buff thanks to Black Maria, which is very, very nice. We can then use... Oh, we could have used... I guess we could have used Black Maria on the previous turn to get the carryover. But look, basically with all of our buffs, we have a lot of damage here. Husu can actually get around the resilience as well. So maybe you could even use something like Sasuke. Nah, because then you don't get the 2 turns of cooldown. I think using Husu is probably the best bet. If I had to guess, I would say Husu is the best bet. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the variation as well where there's the captain swap. But as you can see, like with the boosted stats, the Tobi Roppo, they're kind of built for this Kizuna, so they do very, very well. So that was the Tobi Roppo team. If you guys want to use that, it's a 1 team versus all, I guess. But I think there's just some other easier teams that do it a little bit nicer and a little bit smoother. But nevertheless, there we go. On to my team now. Let's wrap up the video. Alright, so the team that I'm actually using for this Kizuna looks a little bit like this. Now, I did change it a little bit to what you saw in the video. But basically, if you guys don't have Usopp, a very, very good replacement is Kizuna Rare Recruit Bond Clay. If you have Kizuna Rare Recruit Bond Clay, and then with Luffy and Law, like, you're pretty much covered. Like, you have everything you need. With the Usopp and the Brook, if you do have, the Usopp and Brook, you can easily just put Brook where Sanji is, and it will work absolutely fine. And that way, you'll have a fully boosted team for a 1 team versus all. But this is my team. Fortunately, I didn't pull Brook. I tried. Trust me, chat, I tried. They know, but unfortunately, we couldn't get him. So we are rocking double Usopp. Usopp is a very good captain, 4.5 Rainbow Captain, as well as giving like extra damage if the enemy is delayed. So having his like delay is actually pretty nice to have. Law as a captain's great because he can set defense to 0 if you have a tandem slot, and he can also remove paralysis with his captain ability. His special is very, very good for chain bounding shenanigans, as well as this whole team being free spirit. So he's actually our attack booster, which works very nicely. For the quick variation, Frankie is going to do like a 50% HP cut. He paralyzes us. And then he does like a death damage of like 40k. So that's why the Missim support is very, very good here. But you could easily just chuck on Brook. Like if you're not using Brook on the team, obviously. Like, but Legend Brook on Usopp there will work quite nicely. And that way you can actually get the damage reduction there. So when Frankie dies, you are going to cop 40k. So make sure you have some sort of damage reduction, because you do cop a 50% HP cut when you enter. A HP boosting ship should actually tank it for this team, but something like Koala Captain can work very nicely as well. Once we hit the final stage against Luffy, we are going to get normal attacks only. We get a full board of recovery slots and 5 turns of despair. You can't use a chain buff on this particular stage, so I could have used Sanji on the previous stage, but I just don't know. Like, I just can never remember which ones are actually the ones that do that. I did actually manage to pull Vivi. I did some, like, I'm going to call them alliance multis, where I was just sort of chatting, doing some super boss team building with my chat, with my alliance, and I ended up going in for Vivi again. So we did pull her. She's pretty good. After I found out the whole stacking of is it resilience or resistance is a thing, I was kind of like, yeah, I think I want this Vivi now. I really think I want this Vivi. With this team as well, if you have Super Tandem level 5 Luffy, you can actually get it. Otherwise, if you have Super Tandem level 4 or higher Law, you can actually get that as well. So it all works out pretty hunky-dory. Now, as you guys will see here, this team does a disgusting amount of damage, and we don't even need to get to the Usopps, which will do a lot of damage as well. So that's the 1 team versus all that I will be using for most of my runs. But like you guys saw at the start of the video, I'm actually going to be using Marco for those XP gains when we are doing assists. But enjoy the video. Make sure to belt the like button if you're new to the channel. Hit that big red subscribe button. Let me know how you guys are going, Kizuna. Best of luck to all you guys in the Super Boss. Wherever you are, though, in this beautiful world, though, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!